seen one of those real estate investing commercials on television and wondered, is this for real? Have you ever bought one of those programs and been poorer for it? Hi, I'm Ian Parrish. I'm president of Investors United School of Real Estate Investing. And with me today is a friend of mine and partner and member here at Investors United, Rebecca Joyner. Rebecca, welcome.
Thank you.
Rebecca is a mother of four, including husband, and a business owner. And you came to me a while ago looking at Investors United School of Real Estate Investing here, and you said, well, I've just purchased a program, right? And I have already spent a couple $1,000s, and you were in a position that you were unsure whether the juice was worth the squeeze, whether you were getting your money's worth.
Yes.
And you went to a seminar here in Baltimore.
I did.
And they told you could become wealthier than your wildest imagination.
They did.
And you believed them.
I did.
You bought a mentoring program.
I did.
And then you had some doubts.
Yes.
It's difficult when you're just starting off because you really don't know what you don't know. And it's very easy for somebody with a little bit of motivation and enthusiasm and some deceptive sales practices to make you feel that they know something. And when you don't know what you don't know the questions to ask to vet this person and to determine if they're really giving you bona fide advice that you should stake your savings on, or if they're just winging it to take your money. So what we did at the time was a little scary.
Right.
But now looking back, it's a lot of fun because it had a positive ending. If you've been in this situation, we want you to have a positive ending as well. So what we did is gave you a list of 20 questions, and tell me what happened.
Well, I called, and I called the mentor line, and I started to ask the questions, and he didn't have answers for more than half the questions. Actually, when some of the questions, he had to put me on long holds and Google the answer, and then come back on and tell me that he had the answer finally after researching it. And so, you know, I hung up the phone just shaking my head like, I can't believe I just wasted all this money on this guru, and I was still just as lost and had no more answers than I did before I started.
I remember before you made that call, you said, well, he's a really nice guy, I'm not sure. And after the call, it was like a sea change. You said, I can't believe this. You were not happy. And you got a tape recorder at Radio Shack, and you told him, look, I'm recording this conversation, I'm taking recorded notes here, and went through these questions that we prepared together.
Yes.
To determine, is this guy for real, or is it phony baloney?
Right.
I remember the one question above all that stood out to me was the question about foreclosures. And we have that on tape. Take a listen.
A homeowner in Maryland is in foreclosure, and the public auction is going to take place within the next 20 days. There is about $39,000 in equity profit, and I want to buy the property. How should I make an offer on this property to the owner?
Okay, is it listed with a real estate agent?
I do not believe so.
Okay, so how do you know about it? Let me ask you that.
I found it from the foreclosure website that we learned about in the 3-day the 3-day course.
Okay, so you got that information from a website. Well, the first thing you're going to need to do is make communication with the homeowner and see if they are interested in selling or they are interested in trying to do something with the property to keep them out of foreclosure.
Okay.
So he advised you to contact this owner in foreclosure.
He did.
What was the problem with that?
Well, the problem with that is when a house is in foreclosure, you are not allowed to speak with the homeowner
Directly. Yeah, and in the state of Maryland, that can get you into big trouble. There's a way to handle it, and there's a way that we talk about in the foreclosure course here, but the way that she was advised was not the way to do it. The other one that was kind of neat, and it was a softball question, was the question about time is of the essence, and whether you should include that in your contract or not. Take a listen.
When I was making the offer on that property, my contract says that time is of the essence, and I wanted to know, should I leave that in there or should I take that out from now on?
Well, you do want to leave it in there because all contracts that I know of have time parameters of when they're supposed to reply, and they set time parameters throughout the contract to make sure things are moving along.
So what is time is of the essence, and why, as a buyer, would you not want that in your contract?
Because all deadlines would be strictly obeyed with that clause being in your contract. And as a buyer, you don't want to have something in there like that. That's more for a seller than a buyer.
Right. So if the deadline is Friday at 5 p.m. and you get to closing on Friday at 6, you're out of contract. If time is not of the essence, if the clause is not in there, Friday at 6 or even the next day, you would be okay.
Yes.
Right. It's not a huge clause, but it can make the difference between making a profit or not making a profit. So you're not going to put that in there. The other question that you asked him that was kind of neat, and this was another softball, was about the multifamily property. You said that you're buying or looking at a multifamily property, and you said, what would be a good cap rate? I love this question. Take a listen.
I'm looking at an apartment building with 10 units. The gross rent is $110,000 a year. What cap rate would make this a good deal?
$110,000 a year
For the gross rent?
for the rent.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Now, is that figuring in any vacancy rates or anything like that?
It is.
Okay, so that's what their average is.
Yes.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Okay. Hello?
Okay, I apologize for that. But as far as the cap rate on a commercial property, you're looking at wanting to do 10% or higher. 10% or higher is usually going to give you a cash flow.
Okay. Okay.
That was a trick question. I gave a bunch of information that was useless, and he couldn't tell us what the answer was for the cap rate. He actually had put us on pause, or put me on pause for a very long time so that he could Google the answer. And then when he came back, he said that the good thing would be a 10%. That's the general rule of thumb, is what his answer was.
Right. It doesn't matter what the income is. It doesn't matter what the condition is. The only thing that matters when you ask what is a good cap rate is the number.
Right.
And at least 10 for a real estate investor. And we're frankly happier at 12 or 14.
Yes.
So what was another question that you asked?
Another question I had asked him was if a seller was willing to do owner financing, what kind of clauses should I put in my contract? And he had suggested that we figure out what the interest rate is going to be in our contract. Well, the problem with that is if we have interest as investors, we're going to be paying more money, and that's not something we want to do. He should have suggested that we do a principal-only mortgage.
Well, sure. Why pay interest? Why ask to pay interest without first asking for a principal mortgage? That doesn't make any sense.
Right, exactly.
I think you asked about banking days and calendar days too, didn't you?
I did.
That's a softball.
That is.
Anybody should be able to get that.
Anybody.
And he said to use.
He said it would be okay to use either one. And that
either
you could use, right, either personal or banking days, it didn't matter. However, if we use banking days, it gives us an extended period of time.
Sure.
Where if we were to use personal banking days, we wouldn't have as much time.
Calendar days, yeah. And so if the closing date is 60 banking days, that's a longer period of time than if it were 60 calendar days. Another softball question. And this is the mentor that you pay thousands of dollars for.
Correct.
So after that call, you're probably a little fired up.
I was a little fired up, and I was a little disoriented, and a little angry at the fact that I wasted my time and my money.
I remember you were feeling pretty bad because the agreement you signed with this mentor said that the money you paid was non-refundable.
Right.
And I remember feeling pretty fired up myself that someone else representing themselves as an expert in this industry would be taking advantage of other people. So we wrote a letter, and it was a pretty strongly worded letter. I said, I don't really care about the non-refundable clause in the contract. we're going to write this letter. The letter is right here. What was the result of that letter?
They shook in their boots.
They were wearing boots.
They were wearing
shaking
boots and they were shaking in them. Yes.
And you got your money back.
And I got my money back. I got my money back faster than we had thought that I would get my money back.
So if you've been involved in this type of situation, call Investors United, call me, send an email. I would be glad to give you this list of questions so you can ask your mentor if they know what they're supposed to know. And if you find that you're paying for advice that you're really not getting, if you're less than enthusiastic about the advice you're getting from your mentor, call me. We'll do our best to help you make your mentor do right in this business and, if possible, get your money back. Also, be sure to get this Real Smart report. Questions to ask before enrolling in a real estate investing course. What's shocking about the questions and content contained in this report is that more people aren't asking them. And that's so important before you get involved in
Yes.
any endeavor, is to find out who are you taking advice from, what have they done in the past, and what are they doing now. Rebecca, are you satisfied with your membership here at Investors United School of Real Estate
I
Investing?
am definitely. I've learned a lot. With all the different courses that you offer, I've definitely learned the truth about real estate investing.
I think you could be a mentor for any one of those get-rich-quick programs.
I think I could. I've had the expert training here.
Are you making money?
I am making money.
And you'd recommend it to a friend?
I would definitely recommend this to a friend.
Stop over at Investors United and talk with Rebecca. Partner with her. I know she'd be glad to make some money with you too. Rebecca, thanks a lot.
Thank you.